Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to make a birthday cake, a pre-birthday cake. So I'll be making a chocolate cake. For this cake I'm using 5 eggs as you have seen them. That's my first egg. I'll first beat the eggs after adding the 5 of them in this bowl. And by the way, happy birthday to all October babies. I hope you try out this simple recipe for a decorated cake at home. So far I've added 3 eggs in my bowl. I started with beating eggs. I mixed the wet ingredients before mixing the dry ingredients, and that's why I'm starting with the eggs. I used 5 eggs for this recipe, just 5. Yes, those are my 5 eggs. I started beating them after I added all the 5 of them in my bowl. Keep beating your eggs. At this step, I added some sugar to the eggs, and add sugar that you feel is good for the cake you want, okay? Sugar levels really depend on you, on the type of cake you want. Beat the eggs and the sugar. For me, I was making a chocolate cake, that's why I used brown sugar. If it's a vanilla cake, you can use the white sugar, but if it's chocolate, you can just use the brown sugar because the cake needs to be brown, chocolate, dark brown. That's why here I'm using some brown sugar. Beat your eggs and your sugar until you get the mixture you desire. Keep beating your eggs and your sugar. For me, I kept beating my eggs and my sugar, mixing them. Here I added some milk. I added 1 cup of milk, and I added some margarine, vanilla flavored margarine. I used vanilla flavored margarine because I was not going to add any vanilla essence. So keep beating your mixture. You can use melted butter or melted margarine, but I just used solid. I didn't want to melt. I didn't have that time to melt. Not that I didn't want, because after seeing the result, I wished I could have used melted butter, but I'm glad the cake just came out good and very tasty. This cake was very tasty. I still have it in my fridge. It's so tasty. You can make sure you try it and let me know how yours turns out in the comment section. I went ahead and started mixing my dry ingredients. I used all-purpose wheat flour, baking powder, and cocoa powder as my dry ingredients. This is all-purpose flour, all-purpose wheat flour. I added some baking powder to the flour before sieving, and I also added some cocoa powder to the flour and baking powder before sieving. Here I'm adding some cocoa powder. Remember, we are making a chocolate cake, or can I call it black forest cake? yeah, like forest cake. Save your dry ingredients. For my dry ingredients, I used about 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, and 50 grams of cocoa powder. Some of the flour and baking powder I added off camera. Some of the flour, baking powder, and cocoa powder. These 2 powders are confusing me. There, I had already mixed all my dry ingredients, so I went ahead to mix my wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. I added some of the mixture in the wet ingredients and mixed them and kept the other half of the dry ingredients aside for me to be able to beat them smoothly, to mix them smoothly. I didn't want to add all the mixture of the dry ingredients together. I needed to add bits by bits, so I decided to add half and then the other half later on. You will see. Mix the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients together. I promise you will love this cake after you try it out. Just use the ingredients that I've used. If you have a sweet tooth, you can add more sugar than me. If you don't have a sweet tooth, you can just add the same sugar as me or even less sugar. Depends on how you want your cake. Mix your wet ingredients with the dry ingredients together to get your cake mixture. He kept mixing. I love this pre-birthday cake. This was my pre-birthday. I made this cake on 4th October today, the day that I'm uploading this video. Sorry. My birthday is actually tomorrow on 5th. So here I'm adding the other half of the dry ingredients that I had kept aside. And I kept mixing. I love mixing like this before I turn on the electric mixer to avoid all the flour flinging up on my face. Here I was mixing the rest of the dry ingredients. I kept mixing until I got a smooth cake. Is it cake? But I don't know. And I'll keep repeating the way to try out this recipe. And let me know if you love the cake. Because for me, I've been loving this cake lately. Even for my muffins, I'm making them like this. Keep mixing until you get a smooth mixture. And I hope you're having a good October so far. Keep mixing. For me, I guess I mix too much. Like most of my time I use in the mixing part, because some of it I do it off camera. Like here I did it off camera. Then I spread some BUTTERCREAM on the baking tin I was using. I was using a for as my baking tin, a cooking pot as my baking tin, because I needed a bigger cake to get some layers. My baking tins, I'll show you. So not so small, but they're small. They're smaller than the size of cake I wanted for this day. I used some baking paper to avoid the cake sticking and added the cake mixture and my cooking pot. But for today, this cooking pot is a baking tin. I added my cake mixture, and by this time I had already started preheating my oven, and the cake was ready after about 60 minutes. Yes, 60 minutes at 170 to 180 degrees Celsius. I needed to use some cream on the cake, and for better results I had to leave it to cool first. I couldn't use the cream. Oh my god, the cream on the cake was still hot, so I needed to leave the cake for some minutes to cool. You can see how the cake turned out. I loved it. It was so sweet. I love this cake. Don't know how you can see how big it is, but if I used my baking tin, it could have been smaller than this height. So I loved the outcome. Here it was after cooling. I kept it on a plate where I was going to apply my cream. Here's my cream. I prepared this cream off camera. Let me know if you want. Let me know if you want to know how I make my cream, my cake creams, and I will show you. I started cutting my cake into the layers I needed. Here I'm applying the cream on the first layer of cake. Yay! Let's make some big cake. You need to make this one at home. You can buy ready cream, or you can make your cream at home, but I guess it's cheaper and more healthier if you make it at home. So if you don't know how to make it, you can let me know, and I'll definitely upload a video that shows how you can make your cream at home. Here's my first layer of cake. Here's my second layer of cake that I'll put on top of the creamed cake. And it was added some cream on the top layer of the cake. This was my top layer of the cake. You can see the cream on the sides. Wait until you see the final result. You'll love it. Yeah, I had already spread the cream on my top layer of cake. And here was after spreading even on the sides, but I needed to smooth this cream. You can see how it turned out. Let me know if you are loving the video so far, and do you love baking with the way? Because for me, I love cooking and baking. I love homemade things. I prefer to make things at home than to buy. Apply your cream on the cake. After all that work of applying the cream on the cake, it was time to add some writings. Oh, Rutiat, 2 ... Guess my age. 2 is definitely a sign that it's 20 something. Guess my age. Rutiat. I hope you guessed right. Okay. You can see the patterns we decided to go with. I should say we decided to go with, because I'm not the one who decided. The patterns we decided to come up with. I loved this pattern. These are just some small pieces of cake here on top, not some. You can add some grated chocolate or some small pieces of chocolate here on top, but for me, just added small pieces of the cake, and I loved it. Let me know if you love it. I love this cake so much. I love it. And don't forget to subscribe. Let's subscribe to the channel. Help the channel grow, this new channel grow. I went ahead to cut the cake after it had cooled off in my fridge for some time. Can you see the result? And here's my yummy cake, and I loved it so much. You should try it out. Remember to subscribe. Bye.